Hello, my name is Leon Wells, and the text I would like to discuss today is the letter of Paul to Philemon. It's a small letter, but yet in that it's a lot of information in there about that time and the type of people they were. Paul, a prisoner of Christ Yeshua, and Timotheus, our brother, to Philemon, our beloved brother and fellow worker, and Apphia, her sister, and Acroppus, our fellow soldier, and to the church in your house. Grace to you and peace from Yahweh our Father and the Lord Yeshua Christ. I take my Yahweh always making mention of you in my prayers, because I hear of your love and the faith which you have toward the Lord Yeshua and toward all the saints. And I pray that fellowship of your faith may become effective through the knowledge of every good thing which is in you for Christ's sakes. For I have come to have much joy and comfort to you, love, because the heart of the saint has been refreshed through you, brother. Therefore, though I have enough confidence in Christ to order you to do what is proper, yet for your love's sake I rather appeal to you, since I am such a person as Paul, the aged and now also a prisoner of Christ Yeshua. I appeal to you for my child Owomius, whom I have begotten in my imprisonment, who formerly was useless to you, but now is useful both to you and to me. I have set him back to you in person, that is, sending my very heart, whom I wish to keep with me, so that on my behalf he might minister to me in my imprisonment for the gospel. But without your consent, I do not want to do anything, so that your goodness would not be in effect by compulsion, but of your own free will. For perhaps he was for this reason separated from you for a while, that you would have him back forever, no longer a slave, but more than a slave, a beloved brother, especially to me, but how much more to you, both in the flesh and in the Lord. If then you regard me a partner, accept him as you would me. But if he was wrong to you in any way, or owes you anything, charge it that to my account. I, Paul, am writing this with my own hand. I will repay it, not to mention to you that you owe me even your own self as well. Yes, brother, let me benefit from you in the Lord. Refresh my heart in Christ. Having confidence in your obedience, I write to you, since I know that you will do even more than what I say. At the same time, also prepare me a lodging, for I hope that through your prayers I will be given to you. A fellow prisoners in Christ Yeshua is greeting you, and Mark, Luke, Demas, our fellow workers in Christ, and the grace of the Lord Yeshua Christ be with your spirit. That was a small letter, but it packed a lot of punch. The first 3 paragraphs are salvation and just Paul acknowledging Yeshua Christ and fellowship and all the people that are with Timothy and the fellow soldiers that are in the church that it is in his house, and how much grace and peace he sends him. Well, 4 through 7 starts to get into giving thanks and making mention in prayers that he's mentioned in shares, and be here of love and faith and prayers to the fellowship of faith and effective through the knowledge of giving him for his name's sake. It's a lot of references. But in 8 verse 8 through 13, he starts to get into what he's writing about, what it is and what he's doing. And what he's doing is he's asking Philemon to receive Onesimus. Onesimus is a slave of Philemon who ran off from him. And when he ran off from him, he ended up helping Paul while Paul is imprisoned. While he's in prison, he can't move about freely. So Onesimus takes letters and does the things that Paul needs, that he wants to do, but he can't do because he's locked up in prison right now. And so Paul, on number 10, verse 10, he pleads for Onesimus. Paul is going to send Onesimus, who's the runaway slave that has been helping him. He's going to send him back to Philemon, the runaway slave. Back to him. He was of no good to Philemon because he ran away. But to Paul, he proved himself worthy in life and in the word, and being a help to him in many ways while he was in prison. And Paul is sending Onesimus back to Philemon, the one he ran away from at first. And he's doing this because he's doing stuff in an orderly manner. He got the authority, as he states, to hold them there and say, I need him for this, that, and that. But that the respect and admiration they have for each other means they had to have a good relationship. He didn't want to impede on that relationship, so he sent him back. He sent Onesimus back to Philemon. He sent him back. That is, your slave ran away, and now you're receiving him again from Paul as a new person, as in the fellowship with Christ. He's not only your slave, but he's your fellow slave worker in Christ. And so Paul is telling him you benefit from that. And as they go on from 14 and 19, Paul is speaking on his former slave status, and he's telling him, he's understanding him why he's sending him back there, and in hopes that he would send him back to him. And that is a lot, asking a lot back then. A slave ran away from you. He ran Paul, served Paul, did everything Paul needed to do. And Paul, out of your relationship with him, he sent him back to you only to send him back to himself. Wow, that's a lot. But from 20 to 25, it starts to get into the meat thing about it. Because it said, 19, and it says where Paul is writing this in his own hand. See, when you write something in your own hand, and when he identified with that, he's saying that's how he feels. That's what his heart is feeling. That's what he feels. And this is his word. When somebody telling you, identifying themselves as wrote with their own hand, they're saying, these are my words, these are my wishes, and this is what I would like. And he's basically telling them, giving the letter authority, giving the letter a weight. Paul's words carry weight. So he's given this letter weight, because this is something he really wants in his heart. And what stunned me about this is how confident Paul was. Having confidence in your obedience. He's confident that Philemon will send the slave Onesimus back to him, and he's the one he ran off from. Paul, he does such a good thing for Paul. When Paul sends him back, Paul is talking with such confidence. 19 to 22, he's talking with such confidence. He knows Philemon. He must really know him. he must really know Omius to trust him to not run off again, to trust him to send him back, showing that character, going back to face what he did. And Paul tells him, if he owes you anything, put it on my charge. Paul brought Philemon to Christ. And now Paul is telling him, if he owes you anything, put it on my account. That's trust and belief in this man. That is trust and belief. Philemon is probably thinking, whoa, this dude ran off from me. Where is all this confidence? Where did all this coming from? But that's how much confidence Paul had in Omius and Philemon. That Philemon will understand what he's doing, understand his request, and return him. That is a level of trust and understanding that is missing in this day and age. This is missing. When he told that he's writing it in his own hand, that's his own words, that's his own heart. And I'm curious, what did Philemon say? What was Philemon's response to this letter? By the confidence that Paul spoke with, and that would allude me to say he knew Philemon well, and he knew Omius well. So his confidence was not only in Christ, his confidence was not only in Christ, but it was also in Philemon and Omius. He knew what he was doing. And he believed everything he was saying and knew it would go his way. That's confidence. That's confidence in Christ. That's confidence in your own word and judgment. You knew Philemon. You knew Omius. You knew, man. And you knew he would do it. And he told him, you know, prepare a lodging for me, because God's will, he would come and visit. Prepare a lodging for him. So he was not only going to send him back, he also is going to go back himself. And if there's any questions, he can answer right then. That is a person's word like that, a person's trust like that. Things like that are the things that made this letter special. It's the trust and belief in each other and belief in Christ. That Omius was a changed person. That Philemon was on Paul's word only, because he ran away slave from him on his word. He believed that Omius was a changed person. Now this right here, that's real. This type of love and trust in Christ and in the word of Paul, and Paul's relationship with Philemon and his relationship with Omius, that is the love that the Bible is based on. That is the love the Bible is based on. I don't know if you read it and got the same things I got of it, but I'll be very curious to see what you got out of it, because that was very deep to me, and that showed me the relationships back in those days with Paul, Philemon, and Omius. Wow, Christ was in the center of that, and everything should work out, even though we don't get the final answer on what he said. By the fact that he said he was going to come to make a place for him, or set a lodging for him, means that not only is he sending him, but he's going to come himself later. So, wow. If you got anything different, let me know.